Hey everyone, today I want to talk about the Road to El Dorado movie and some of the amazing artists that worked on it. And we're going to look at all this beautiful artwork that you're seeing on your screen. It's going to be a little different from what I did in The Prince of Egypt, where we looked at a whole different range of artists from environment to character all the way to sculpture. Today we're going to focus on environments and look at different roles that you might have inside a production like this, as well as learn from this amazing art and give some suggestions for materials to go through later on if you are into growing and getting better skills in environment drawing. So before we jump right in, just looking at the credits for the movie. So the production designer is Christian Schellewald. Paul Lasaine was the production designer on The Priest of Egypt, but he had a smaller role in this movie. We're going to see one of the pictures he did. Vicky Jenson also was additional production design as well as storyboard. A lot of visual development artists we're going to focus here today. So Craig Mullins, Zick, and so on, as well as background artists as we did in The Prince of Egypt. Once again, Nathan Fowkes, I talk a lot about him here on the channel, and Scott Wills, that Nathan Fowkes talks a lot about in his courses on schoolism. So let's jump right in. And Christian Schellewald is an amazing artist, so it's great to see a lot of the work that he has on this movie. These are great. We've been talking about the control of value, grouping, and as well as color and saturation here on the channel a lot, and you can see a lot here also with the shapes, man-made versus nature. So you have a lot of the balance and the counterbalance between both worlds. Also you can see the use of nature as patterns. You are here in an environment that is animation, so you have a lot of artistic license to make changes and make interesting things, make interesting shapes. I love this. This is almost using, and as we'll see later on, a better detail on this, but using the design motifs from Latin America, ancient civilizations, mostly Mayan, and I'm currently studying with Gabriel Yeganian. I talked about him here on the channel as well. And we're covering Mayan, so it's great to see that in this kind of setting. So there were a lot of interchange between the cultures and different architecture motifs, and this is inspired by some of them. But it's really interesting to see how he's bringing that to nature. The example that I was talking about, I'm going to jump right to that because I think it's great to see that here. So you can see the direct influence, and here even a little bit of Aztec, Center Mexico civilizations, or early civilizations as well from Mexico, and their influence directly in the design of the vegetation. This is, I think, the most important sheet from all this work. This is where I learned the most, to be honest. So take your time looking at it. You can easily find this image on the internet and learn a lot from that. So as I said before, the balance between colors, so saturation and complementary colors, so greens and reds, as well as man-made structures versus vegetation. That's a big topic overall throughout the movie. So it's something that he's really exploring here artistically, being the production designer. Also, the use of water was really big, and it's really big in the movie as well. So using a lot of those design motifs for the architecture. This scene is great. Like I've been trying myself to do more of this civilization big picture bird eye view, and it's really, really hard. So looking at this, I can really imagine the amount of work that went into that and the greatness of his work. Design and bringing a lot of the motifs as well to the rock formations. So really great to see a lot of the use of traditional materials back in the day. So a lot of watercolor here, merging some of those masses and shapes. More thumbnails, explorations, what the movie could look like. Once again, a lot of vegetation, a lot of patterns. It's almost like texture and patterns, and how can that translate to the final movie. So just one more example here from him. The flow, using the sizes as well as saturation and values to really guide the eye through this big mass of vegetation. It's mass and mass in terms of not organized. He has two great books. I don't have the second one, unfortunately, but I do have the first one, and it's really great. It's drawing on plein air with real life influences. So really interesting to see how he distills a lot of the shapes around the world into, and especially from LA to San Francisco. That is the area that he's focusing on, and translates that into a lot of amazing, beautiful shapes, as you can see in the work done here. This is very relatable to what you find on the book as well. So Vicky Jenson, some of her work, so jumping right in. Also, as we said before, the balance between red and green, so using a lot of contrast, man-made versus nature, as well as the shapes here and values from the butterflies, and also some interesting, funny motifs, some of the concepts. Also here as well, the counterbalance between shapes and colors and values. It's really interesting. Paul Lasaine, this is one of the art pieces that he did. I don't know if he did any more. I couldn't find those. But it's great to see as well. It reminds me a lot of Pocahontas as well. There is a scene that is close to that. I don't know if he had, and probably he did, that directly worked on that as well. If you know that, please share in the comments. Craig Mullins. So some of his work, I'm going to do a direct relationship with Fred Warter here, and then we'll go up to the other details. Because we can see some of the layout designs. I don't know if this is direct concept or layout. I do remember some of the one of the movie scenes being close to this. I haven't watched in a long time, so I don't know if it's a direct one-to-one, but we can definitely see the influence here on Craig Mullins' painting. So bringing a lot of the mood, value, and relationship of colors. I love the contrast between red and green on the characters here. So your eye goes directly there. There is a lot of balance as well as in the composition. You will go to the eyes as well from this sculpture. So having the contrast in colors will help bring your eye back here when you go straight to the eyes of the sculpture. We also can see a direct correlation between this layout piece and the painting by Craig Mullins. So bringing, once again, the color relationships and balance, as well as the overall mood. A lot of design on those clouds to make them very simpler shapes and easier to read, because this, once again, is an animation. We can see a lot of that design in the clouds here as well. Beautiful drawing, beautiful painting as well. Some more examples from Craig Mullins. So once again, exploring mood. Some of them might be over other people's layouts. Some of them might be his. I love the relationship between the man-made and the nature. The size contrasts, the proximity versus distance, a lot of atmospheric perspective. So a lot to be learned from this image. Going up here, some other examples by Luc. Also having a little bit of the explorations of times of day, different lighting situations and what they would do, and different use of palettes and what they would do to the overall mood of the movie. So a lot of those explorations. So times of day, this relationship, simpler colors, not going too much into a full range of colors, and really experimenting what would that look like. Sam Michlap, more in the color scripting part. So what would some of the areas look like? So Spain here in the beginning, how it changes during their journey, as well as getting to Latin America, and what El Dorado would look like. So some other explorations here, different times of day, and how that mood would convey. I really love this one. More of impressionistic kind of use of color there. Very, very interesting. Once all of that is done, as we saw with the Prince of Egypt, we definitely, just looking at this one, more design work. As we saw with Fred Warter here, and he has a lot of great images from Disney days as well. So definitely check that out. I'll bring some of them in the future here to the channel. But design work of what the buildings are going to look like, the final buildings are going to look like. Really interesting contrast between simple, no texture here in the water, as well as a lot of texture, a lot of bricks here in the designs. Also, the vegetation versus man-made, different patterns. This is really hard to do well. So try it out. I think this is also to motivate all of you to do a little bit of that. So breathing room without a lot of detail. Also here, these areas are breathing room, and you have a lot of detail going up to a very crowded, detailed area. So your eye will go that way. I love the small details here as well. They help anchor the overall readability for this. So great design, rough relationship to the water. I've been suffering a lot trying to design this in a good way. So it's inspiring to see that be so well done. So last but not least, once that's done, it goes into painting for the final backgrounds. So Scott Wills here, a lot of great backgrounds, great use of colors. I love the blues and how they relate to the greens, almost like analogous kind of palette with some breaks here from the gold as well as the reds in the details. Nathan Fowkes gives an interesting example in his courses of the use of Mondrian as a basis for one of the artworks that was done for the movie. I don't have that specific artwork, but we can definitely see the counter change between straight lines and verticals and horizontals, as well as where the details are placed and the use of different colors. So it's interesting to see how that is done. And here also another example of very horizontal lines and different arrangements of color. I love this very subtle variations here on the blues, as well as the atmospheric perspective going back there. One more example of the architecture. And then I think this one is, I'm not sure, so sorry if any of you is watching this. I don't know if it's Nathan Fowkes or Scott Wills here, but I do believe from the continuation here that is Scott Wills. So really interesting as well, the use of reds versus greens and the overall composition and harmony inside. Leighton Fowkes uses a lot the concept of unity with variety, so we can see a lot of that in here. And Nathan's work, also really great. You probably have seen this artworks before in one of his courses or schoolism promotional material. So really great. And even on some of his courses, he uses this. I think it's the environment design or design with light and color. He talks about painting a scene that has a lot of vegetation versus man-made structures. Also, his books are really great, so links are going to be in the description. Definitely check that out. There is a lot to be learned from that. So that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. This artwork is great. I would love to see an art book from the movie. I don't know if that was made. For Prince of Egypt, it's really hard to find. So definitely, probably if it was made, this one is also hard. But thanks to the internet, we can definitely have a look at a lot of the artwork. Once again, the credits are here. Take a look. A lot of other amazing artists here, as well as the character designers. I added them here, layout artists. So a lot to be learned from this movie. So take your time, go through some of them, choose your best. If you do find some amazing artists in there that have websites and so on, please share in the comments here so everyone can learn from that. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something, and I'll definitely see you again in other videos. Take care.